Hey, this is Joe from Presonus. Today we're going to talk about Reverb, the splitter tool, and effects chains. Okay, I was messing around with the show page the other day. By the way, if you don't know what the show page is, when we launched Studio One version 5, we added an all-new page, an entirely new environment, specifically for live performance. So you can take the presets, channel strips that you've created in your songs producing the album, and you can bring some of those settings over to now perform the album. Whether it's a live show or a live stream, we now have a full-on live performance layout that integrates with your individual songs. It's very cool. Check out some of our videos on that. But specifically, I was setting up a show to kind of figure out some different tones for a vocal. So the idea is, one of the things you can do with the show page is I can plug in a microphone for my live stream show, and I can process it using all the plugins I have available inside of Studio One, which means I can use the fat channel compressor and EQs, but that also means I can use effects like reverb, delay, and things like that. And I can use the patch feature inside of the show page to change what patch or what preset or effects chain I'm using on a song-by-song basis. So the example that I was working on was, I want to sing the first song, then I want to talk for a second after the intro song, and then sing two songs was the idea. So the first song would have a delay, the middle, the talking section, all the effects would go away, because you don't want to hear the delay and the reverb while I'm talking, and then a slapback delay on song 3 and a reverb on song 4. But as I was trying to figure out the best way to do some of these presets, I realized the way that I normally use things like reverb can still work inside of the show page, but it's not at least right now, I don't think it's the most ideal scenario. Here's what I'm talking about. Here is a vocal that I have. I just imported an audio file of a raw vocal. So here it is with, did some quick EQ and compression on it. Here's what that sounds like. I know I can hear you. I know you can hear me. So let's say, for example, I'd love to add a big reverb to this. Well, in a mixing session, normally what I would do is I would come drag my plate reverb preset to the send section, right? Let go, and it would create a send on the channel, and it would create the reverb effects channel, and I would be sending some of the vocal to that reverb, like this. I know I can hear you. Way too much reverb, but you get the idea. So the problem, though, is if I want to save an effects chain that has all the sounds on the channel itself, this doesn't work as well. Now, the effects chain, I think, will save the send level. I'm actually not even sure if it does. But aside from if it does or not, I want to have the reverb on the channel itself for this specific application. I don't need a bunch of different effects always open in my show just for when I need to send something to them. I want to really have access to all the sounds on the channel itself. So that's why things like reverbs have a mix knob on them, right? So you could put a reverb. Let me remove this for a second to show you. So here is the vocal by itself. I know I can hear you. And let's drag this plate reverb preset just onto the channel itself. I'm going to get rid of this EQ. I don't need that. And we're going to set the reverb to using the mix knob to let us hear mostly the dry signal and a little bit of reverb. I know I can hear you. I know you can hear me. Let's say that's how much reverb I wanted. The problem here is the reverb's too muddy. You'll notice whenever I do a reverb, I always follow up the reverb with an EQ that has a high-pass filter on it. So let me get rid of that and show you. This is exactly my preset for a big plate reverb. It has the reverb first, and then it has an EQ that looks like this. So can you see the problem with doing it this way? Even if I set the mix knob here to like 20%, 25%, let's listen to it. I know I can hear you. That EQ right here is applying to the entire vocal. It's EQing the dry vocal as well as the reverb. I really just want to EQ the reverb. One solution is to use like the open air reverb plugin that has impulse responses that has a built-in EQ in the reverb. If you have a reverb with built-in EQ, you're good to go. However, I really like this plate reverb. I don't have any real reason not to use it, but it does not have any sort of a EQ built in. Here's how I would get around that. Let's open up the plugins, click on this little almost looks like a family tree tool up here that's for routing, and you get this window. So when you first open it, it looks like this. Here's what I want to do. I want to split the signal. I want to send the dry signal all the way through like this. And then I want to send a copy of the signal through the reverb so I can just EQ what that reverb sounds like. So the way I do that is I drag the reverb and its EQ over to the right-hand side. Now, listen to the difference.
I know I can hear you. I know you can hear me.
Before, it sounded like this.
I know I can hear you. I know you can hear.
But now we can bring it over, and now we can only EQ the reverb. We can actually even turn the mix up a little bit, and we'll hear a nice warm vocal and then a reverb that doesn't have any of that gross kind of thickness that tends to happen down the low end of a reverb.
I know I can hear you. I know you can hear me.
Now, for just the sake of making it clear, I'm going to boost the low end on this vocal so you can hear that the vocal gets nice and big and boomy, but the reverb remains nice and clean and doesn't have any of that boom to it.
I know I can hear you.
You hear how clean that reverb is? If I removed that EQ, you would hear this big woo, 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 woo resonating in the reverb.
I know I can hear you.
You hear that woo, 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 woo. That would cause, and what happens when you do that, in case you're not following what I'm saying, is that muddiness in the reverb starts to make your whole mix sound muddy. And you come in and you can't figure out why your mix is muddy because you've got the vocal dialed in like you like it, but it's still too muddy, so you start making your vocal thinner and thinner and thinner, when really all you needed to do was make your reverb thinner. So, to review, the splitter tool allows you to do a number of things. You can split left and right, you can split frequencies, or you can just apply an EQ to one side and it's an equal split, almost like it's literally parallel processing, but it's all happening on a single channel. So I don't need a separate fader, I don't need a send, I just literally have the reverb right here. And if we want less reverb, we can do something like this, or we can adjust the mix knob on the reverb itself. We still have a lot of flexibility there. So this is specifically in context of the show page, having everything saved on the channel as a preset, but obviously you can use this in mixing as well. It's another way of approaching using things like reverb and really utilizing that splitter tool that I think a lot of people don't realize that it's there and don't utilize it as much as they could. It's a really powerful tool. So next time you're messing around with reverb, whether it's on a guitar track or even a vocal, especially if you're using the show page, try this out and come back and leave a comment. Let me know how it works. All right, that's it for me. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. If you like this video, you'll love what we're doing on this YouTube channel. Lots of great content already posted and a lot more coming at you. Thanks for watching. See ya.